Hey, on this episode of Samp&Chance, we are going to break down for you AEW versus NXT, the head-to-head collision that happened last night. Also, we're going to probably take a quick peek at Fastlane and Raw and all the things that are happening in the world of professional wrestling. So, as I always say, sit back, strap in, and thank you for letting us into your ears. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson. Joined with me is my man with the master plan, Mr. Chance Michaels. Chance, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain, man. We're coming at everyone today on a Wednesday. So just so everybody knows, sorry for if you were waiting for an episode last night. Sorry, it didn't deliver. Technology can still prove to be troublesome at times, eh?
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes it can, but here we are coming off coming off NXT and Dynamite, so maybe it worked out better.
I think it worked out just fine, man. Speaking of that, why don't we start with your take on the show? I mean, overall, just a quick summary. We'll break it down.
NXT?
Oh, NXT, yeah.
NXT was good, man. I'm just saying that, John Cena was out there. They just had an energy to the show that hasn't had in a little bit. I thought it was pretty good. Brought out the big guns, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, good energy, fun. The casual person tuned in, as you can tell by the ratings. So it was good. Dynamite wasn't as I thought NXT was a better show than Dynamite last night myself. Dynamite wasn't bad, but I don't know. It was a good night. It was a Tuesday night war that you don't see very often. So it's fun. Brings up some friendly competition. Tony Khan, smack talking Triple H, smack talking HBK and Vinnie Mac. That'll fire them up. So yeah, it was fun to see. Good competition. What do you think?
Well, I'll be honest. I watched NXT first, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Kind of what I did, and I went back and watched the AEW show. Look, here's what I took away from it. Both shows, I guess delivered in their own way.
Yep.
I think the best part of AEW was probably the ending. Not in a bad way. I just really enjoyed that melee at the end. Everyone was fighting, and just the way it went off the air. It was kind of cool. It was kind of nostalgic in terms of old school wrestling. When they used to do that in the NWA and stuff.
Yeah.
NXT. Look, here's the thing. Honestly, you're right. You hit the nail right on the head for me. Both shows were pretty much standard shows.
Yeah.
What separated them is what WWE did with their top tier talent, bringing them in. I don't think any show in particular, and we were talking about this off the air, I don't think either show in particular was stellar by any means, right? It was an average show if you did, regardless. See, here's the one thing AEW does a lot. They give pay-per-view style matches on regular TV all the time.
Yeah, they give it away, yeah.
Right? They give it away constantly. And that's not a knock on them. That's their label. That's their brand. That's how they do it. But that was basically what that show was. I mean, a 30-minute buy-in, it's just too much to consume, right? Especially if you're airing on the West Coast, it's Tuesday. People are driving home from work. Who's going to watch that?
Absolutely.
Right. And so, but I think at the end of the day, NXT prevailed. And this is why I think so. The production value.
I was just about to say, dude, but you just said it, but I was just about to say that the production, the lighting, the graphics, the brightness, the cameras, the stage, it has a better production quality than AEW's main show does. This is WWC show.
Yeah.
And they got production down to a science.
No, and I think that was the biggest piece. And that's always been my issue with AEW is their production. Not so much look, if you were going to actually look at the wrestling, AEW wins on the night. In terms
maybe for matches, I guess.
For matches in wrestling. Just maybe even the matches in NXT would have been, would have beat out what they were going up against on that show that night. But what I'm saying is overall, the wrestling there would have won, right? But production-wise, they always seem to slip. Like I don't know why they just can't figure it out on that end.
They haven't been in business long enough. They don't have the same production.
4 years. At 4 years, you should know enough now. That's all I'm saying. Their cutaways and stuff still trouble me. Like I said, at Wembley Stadium, Will Ospreay was about to do something killer, and they pan to the crowd, like a wide shot of the crowd, like stuff like that. But overall, WWE, just think about it, it's in the Performance Center or wherever they film that.
Performance Center.
Capital City, whatever it's called, right? It's an in-house studio.
Mhm.
So, I mean, maybe it's a bonus that they can control it better from that angle. But overall, just the crowd, the way it was displayed, just the colors, the way it popped. I don't know if USA just has a better color schemes going for it, in terms of its delivery. But overall, I would just have to say that NXT was the better show, man. And, seeing Taker come out and,
John Cena, they had Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
The only thing is now that was one hot night for NXT. What are they going to do next week? Are they still going to bring out the big guns? Different, not John Cena every NXT. Who are they going to bring out? Because if they don't bring out the big guns, you'll see the viewership drop again. So now they set the bar high. What are they going to do going forward?
Well, I think going forward, you're just going to go back to what it was. That's the reality of it. Because, I mean, remember, it's a developmental territory, right?
Yeah, I know. But they're raising the bar so high, bringing out some of the best guys, and you don't bring them back, and people, I don't want to see it. John Cena's not here. Cody Rhodes ain't here. I'm not watching. That's what the average Joe's going to say. So it'll hurt him in ratings. But you're right. It is a development show. But they raised the bar high last night.
Well, no, they were high. I mean, I'm just trying to bring them up here for us so we can get into those ratings, right? So, I mean, the ratings did come out this afternoon. Really quick, actually, because normally these ones, well, I guess because it's head-to-head makes sense. So NXT last night drew 921,000 viewers with a 0.30% rating in the 18 to 49 demo, which is up from last week, which is basically us, the Attitude Era crowd, right?
Yeah.
We're clinging on by a thread. Not many of us left watching wrestling.
No.
And that's just the reality of that, right?
Yeah.
That's up from last week's 857,000. Right.
Yes.
So on average, if you think about it, they're averaging anywhere from 700 to 800,000 fans every week.
Which is awesome for their bottom show, right?
Oh no, great. It puts a lot of light on some of these guys, and now these guys will have to work harder, right? So that's the reality of it. Dynamite, unfortunately, last night, they were the losers on the head-to-head here. They drew 603,000 viewers with a 0.26 rating in the 18 to 40.
I'm surprised they got so low. Usually they're around 700,000. I'm surprised they got so low.
Right. So without all the big names and everything that was on NXT last night, they only drew 800,000 fans last week.
Who's that?
Or AEW.
AEW, yeah.
Yeah. So even with all of that, NXT would have still beat them with their 857 last week.
Yeah, it's close though. But yeah.
Close, but I mean, it just that's your A show. That's all I'm trying to say. And Tony Khan took a really big gamble here, and it kind of, I don't know if it's blew up in his face, but I mean, for what
I don't think it blew up in his face, but it didn't work out as he thought it would.
Right?
Edge, I said it last show. Edge is not a needle mover. Yes, he's a great talent, but he's not a guy that the average guy is going to say, "I want to watch this guy." He's just not.
Yeah.
The hardcores love him, and he's a legend, and he's a great, but he's not a needle mover. It's just the reality. John Cena is.
Yeah.
Edge is not.
Here's the one thing I will say that I took away from NXT, the show itself last night. Yes, Cena was there.
Yeah.
Yes, Taker showed up.
Cody Rhodes
was there. Asuka was there.
Paul Heyman was there. But here's the cool part of it all. Like, if you actually go and watch some of the WWE digital shorts and stuff that they have, they do a lot of these things, it kind of helps the storylines or builds what they're going to do. I didn't feel that any of those big names were trying to take the spotlight. If you can understand. No, they didn't. No, they were there to help.
They were really focusing on the younger talent and really trying to elevate them, which I really, really liked, right?
They don't even need to try to take the spotlight. They are the spotlight. They just walk out there, and John Cena and Taker are loved no matter what they do.
No, I get that.
They can read the alphabet.
Yeah. No, 100%, right? But the reality was you could see what those other talents, the big talents, were doing. Now, apart from Asuka, who had to win, right? She had to match against Roxanne Perez. One day she's going to be one of the top female stars, I believe, in the company. But yeah, Asuka had to beat her, obviously, just for obvious reasons. But just the way they use that talent to elevate the younger talent, right? So now, it's time for those guys to put in the work. On the AEW side, like I said, the matches were okay. They were okay matches, but there's the matches that you would normally get in general.
Didn't do
And
anything special last night to make you want to tune in. Just a regular Dynamite.
in essence, that's what it was, right? I mean, yeah, you had 2 title changes happen on the show, right?
Mhm.
Ray Phoenix lost the international title back to Orange Cassidy, and Hakura Ishida, she is now officially 3-time AEW Women's Champion. She beat Saraya.
Mhm.
So you basically you had those kind of moments there. Daniel O'Brien, he was on the card.
Yep.
What else was there?
Edge is up there.
I think the one mistake they made, and if you're going to try to do something big, they didn't use MJF correct in any way, man. I think
Yeah,
they
he's
really
our biggest star right now.
dude, that's their biggest star, and they made him look horrible on that. Just my opinion. Like, go back and watch the segment, guys and girls. I mean, just
Yeah, I watched it.
it was like, okay, so just to understand where it's coming from, Jay White, I believe, the one of the Bullet Club elite guys, they stole his title. He's current AEW heavyweight champion. They stole his title, and he's been trying to get it back. And he comes out there, asking for his title back, and like he didn't really wrestle. Like, he should have been on the card, man.
Mhm.
He should have been wrestling. I mean, not only is he amazing on the stick, he's also really good in the ring, right?
Yeah.
And not to have him like just kind of play that silly ass role, like it just didn't make sense.
A lot of things AEW doesn't make sense a lot of times. They do some good stuff and they do some silly stuff, and Tony Khan is kind of all over the place. If they don't have, I don't need to have the best writers there either. You need to have good writers in place. You have to have creative minds in place. It doesn't matter how talented the wrestler or worker is. You need to have somebody writing with them and helping them along. It's acting in essence, right? And without the good writers, the show suffers.
Speaking of writers, it just came to my mind right now. Just thought throw it out there. Maybe you have the answer if someone's listening, and they can leave us a comment and let us know. The writers for WWE or AEW, don't they belong to the Writers Guild or whatever? Wouldn't they, in general? If that's the case,
Yeah,
they'd be on strike too.
the strike's over now.
Is it over now?
It's over now. Yeah.
When did it end?
About a week or two ago, all the late night guys are back now. All the late night goofballs are on at night.
Oh,
Kimmel
okay.
clowns are back. Yeah, so the strike's over.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it shows you how much I pay attention to that movie. The only reason I bring it because John Cena was saying he's only around until this is over, and then he has to
Yeah.
go back to filming. So I thought, that from Saturday to now, I didn't realize it had already changed. Because
Yeah, I think it happened about a week ago.
he was still talking about it as if they were still on strike.
Yeah, no, as far as I know, they're off strike. As far as I know, or certain portions of it, or I don't know how it breaks down. But speaking of that, Vinnie Mac said no to CM Punk coming back. I think they're just trying to say that, then he'll show up.
I think that's the whole ploy, man.
They
I mean,
told him
it's
no,
called
but
deterrent, right? I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, he's going to come back, but I mean, they want to try
they're
to.
saying, well, Dave Meltzer's saying that Punk was contact with him, and Vince has said no, he's too much trouble. But he does maybe he's saying that, so we don't think he's going to be surprised if he does come.
Well,
we'll see.
So to further that, Tony Khan, Triple H, and Vince all sat down together and decided collectively that it would be bad to bring him back right now.
I don't believe that story. No way Vinny sits down with Tony Khan and gives him any time of day or even talks to him. I don't buy that.
No, sorry, not Tony Khan. I apologize.
Nick Khan.
Nick Khan.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I believe that. I think one thing I've been noticing a lot, you have all these different bloggers and website guys. You see them on Facebook and Twitter. There's random people, like wrestling.co.uk. They got like 5,000-6,000 followers. And all these guys talk about is Nick Khan, Triple H. And every article I read that these guys are the brain power. Vinnie Mac to decide if CM Punk comes or if he doesn't. Final decision. But they always are. I find that they're embellishing Triple H's role a lot. Triple H said, no, Vinny, if he wants him there, he's there. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I find that with a lot of these bloggers, always pumping up Triple H. He's the most, if it's a good Raw, Triple H, or if it's a bad Raw, Vinny, right? These guys are some of the biggest fools I've ever seen in wrestling. And I've actually reached out to some of them to try to come on the show. So I want to ask them about where they're getting this information from. Are they making it up? Or who's their sources? But they haven't responded yet. So I'd love to have one of these guys come on and debate them to see where they get their sources from.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you No Nonsense Chancellor. Love
it's just like because they're feeding so much disinformation now that I know it's not true. You're going to tell me that Triple H can tell Vince if CM Punk comes in? No, he can't. He's in charge of creative. He doesn't make the decisions.
So,
right?
So just to
But
figure
we're
your
pumping
point,
this guy up like he's like a writing god. He's only been around for a little bit and he hasn't created anything. It's just like it's a younger guys doing it. I know why they're doing it, but it's a false narrative, and they should got to report the truth.
fair play, fair play. So this is fact. I can tell you this, and I'm not sure if you know it or not, but Triple H from Endeavor has been given 99.9%
That, but it never hasn't said that. That's what I'm saying. These are the bloggers telling you that. Vince McMahon's still in control of 49%. He's the chairman of the board. He could tell Triple H, this ain't happening and that ain't happening. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They're telling you that. We haven't heard that from Endeavor. That's my point.
Okay,
So who's
perfect.
making the
Which is what
I'm not
bringing
saying
up.
that rumor.
Yeah,
We haven't heard from Endeavor.
Yeah. Well, I think people are making a bigger deal out of most of this anyways. Like at the end of the day, look, Triple H is doing his job, right? Everyone's doing their part, whatever they're doing. I mean, you think about it, Bruce Pitchford is still working there.
Yep.
Michael Hayes is all working there. So, I mean,
there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, not just 2-3 guys.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, I find what they're trying to do is they're trying to downplay Vinny and pump up Triple H. Like he deserves his spot. He got the spot because he married Steph and Vince handed it to him. I'm talking about as an executive and as a creative guy. Other wrestlers could have had the spot if they would have married Steph. That's harsh to say, but that's the truth of it. His son-in-law gave him a gig. I'm not taking away from Triple H's wrestling. I'm talking about after wrestling. And I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. Why do you think Shawn Michaels has the NXT job? It's his best buddy. It's a lot of nepotism going on here. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. Michaels is one of my all-time favorites, but I'm saying these are guys that use their power and put themselves in the right spots. People have been saying that about them for 30 years, right? So, and I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but I think we're pumping their tires a little too much yet. This is my take.
All I got to take for say to that is like we live in a time where people want respect and they don't want to earn it. We live in a time where people are quickly to gratify and be good. You know what I mean? Like how can I put it this way? Like when you hear that you deserve it chant, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's being watered down because in my honest opinion, sometimes that chant isn't deserved, right? And it's just a reflection on what we live in today where I don't want to get in trouble, bro, but here's the
thing. I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Like look, if little Miss is playing soccer, right? I want her to win.
Yep.
I don't want her to get a participation award.
Yeah, you want to earn it. I know what you mean.
I want to, you earn the victory. If you're going to lose, earn the loss because through losing, there's so much learning.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you look at prime example. What was it? The New England Patriots. They went that whole season undefeated right into the playoffs and then lost in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Right. So the minute you go down and face some sort of adversity, which you haven't faced, that's probably the worst time to face it because you don't know how to handle it. Because everything, every coin flip has been whatever you were wanting it to be up until that point. So losing is a big part of things. So I think we just live in a world now where everybody wants to prop up and this and that. But the other side of that is, what we do, right? You suck up, and I'm not saying we do, I'm just saying, but those kind of bloggers and vloggers and people that
well, I'd love one of them to come on. They have a big following, but they never respond. I guess they want to be faceless, I guess, but it's just like I just want to say to them, like, where do your sources? You don't have to name the names, like you just make up stuff and you're throwing it out there. Like the Stephanie and Triple H getting divorced. Where did that come from? Well, some idiot on the internet with some following threw it out there. It's not true. And Triple H was getting texts about it. Are you getting divorced from Kevin Nash? She's like, no, I'm not. That's not true. But it's some guy on the internet with a good following spun it out for whatever the reason. I don't know.
That's just the world we live in now, man. Everybody wants clout, right? And that's what separates us. I mean, I'm not trying to, hey, this is what Samp&Chance is. We tell the truth. We tell the real facts. We don't embellish. We work with the real information, right? So, I mean, and that's what makes it harder for us because, who wants to listen to the truth?
Yeah, no. So that's what I'm saying. We haven't heard from Endeavor if that's true. We're just hearing from the bloggers and they're telling us the truth. But you got to remember, these same guys that are writing us, they're praising Triple H like he's the greatest writer of all time. 10 years ago, they hated this guy. They hated Triple H. They thought he was a kiss ass. They thought he wouldn't put anybody over. They hated John Cena. Now all these guys do is praise Triple H and praise John Cena. So they're really, really finicky people. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Then a lot of the times you realize what you lose when the guy's actually gone.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
in some cases as well, right? Like, and you realize like everyone, John Cena sucks. Everyone hated on him for so long, and he left. And now you can't get enough of him again, right? Watch, if he
Yeah.
stays another 6 months, they'll start hating him again,
Say
right?
sticking too long, he's taking the spotlight. Yeah.
Right. So, and that's just the nature of the beast of this society that we live in today, man.
Yeah.
It's not what we grew up in, and shout out to Lady D, our girl in the background who does a lot of work for us and helps us out. And she's just awesome. We were talking about this a little bit today as well, just in terms of different times. Like, remember the 5.5 inch floppy disks?
Yep.
Yeah, we were talking about that. She's saying my computer's slow and I need to get this. I'm like, we used to use these.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like
Yes. Yeah.
and we complain about everything today because it's not fast enough and everything, people just slow down. Honestly, I think that's
Yeah.
the message of the day. We just all need to slow down and relax and enjoy the flowers and get your work done. Still grind
Well,
hard. We're not going to stop. But
the same one of these other bloggers was writing about how Vince doesn't know how to do business and what he's doing. I said, thinking to myself, dude, he just sold the company for how many billions of dollars? Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, come on, man. We're sitting in your mom's basement in your underwear telling us this guy who's the greatest promoter of all time doesn't know how to make a deal. He's cut the biggest deal he's ever made. Like, it's just such nonsense. So crazy.
it is what it is, man. It really
Yeah, it's
truly
funny.
is. I don't
Keeps it entertaining, I guess. Keeps people something to talk about and keeps it flowing.
No, for sure, for sure. I guess that's what it is, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, we keep our stuff, tight
Yeah.
and clean and
Mhm.
to the point. All right, Chance, I tell you what, man, I liked what we did here today.
Good.
You got a top five?
I do. Let's hear your top 5 Edge matches of all time since we're already speaking on them. Otherwise, I'll keep it going.
Oh, top five edge matches of all time. Okay. Obviously the first TLC.
Yeah, has to
That
be.
kind of set the standard for everybody. I mean, if there's anything he pioneered with those guys, would it be that?
Absolutely. Yep.
Any match that he had in his John Cena feud.
Yeah,
Um,
they had a good rivalry together.
they had a really good rivalry because there's not one that I can really pinpoint. Um, this wasn't a match, but it was a segment when him and Lita did that rated R superstar kind of
Mhm.
show in the middle of the ring. That was kind of funny and kind of, if you think about it, Edge did some crazy stuff.
Yeah, he still does.
No,
For
no,
his
but
age.
like those kind of things. Like
Oh,
he's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
toned it down. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, this is post attitude era stuff, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
just for that time. What else would it be? Whenever he wrestled with Christian as a conquistadors,
Yeah.
those were just fun times. And I guess his match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 36 when he came back, or
Yeah.
the one in the Performance Center.
Mhm.
Cinematic type of match, but I mean, he really,
That's the one they called the greatest wrestling match of all time. That's the one they labeled that one, right?
yeah.
It was good, not the greatest, but it was really good though.
No, it was a good match, man. That was fun. Yeah, so that's what I would call it, man.
That's a good list. I like the one he had with Mick Foley too. That was a good one.
Oh, Mania, right? With the
Yeah.
cable. Yeah, you know what? That didn't even cross my mind, bro.
So he's had a lot of good matches. That's what I mean. You could really make 10 of them that
Yeah,
really stand out.
I mean, we could even go to the Brood days, but I mean, he was kind of, I don't know. Did anything outside of the entrance, did anything stand out for you there?
Not really, no. Just the entrance, Gangrel and them.
I tell you what, man, why don't we wrap it up here? I think we've really, really covered a lot of ground, but we didn't talk about Fastlane and we didn't talk about Raw. But I tell you what, the show
We
was
had a Tuesday war to talk about, right? So I mean,
I liked it. I like what we did.
I like it. It's fun competition, man. It's
There
always
you
good.
go. There you go. So I tell you what you need to do. You need to I think we're gonna clip this up and we'll send this to your vlogger friends.
Yeah,
and
put
see
it
if
out
we
there.
can
Yeah,
get some of those guys on
they'll
here.
just say, yeah, he's a Vinny lover. He's a Vinny lover. That's what they'll say. That's which is fine. I'm not hiding behind it. I
There
agree.
you go. I would love no, I'm with you, brother, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying this is what they'll say about him. Oh, he just loves Vince. He praises Vince, but why wouldn't I? Look what the guy's done. He's an icon. He's a genius.
There you go.
Right?
Samp&Chance indirectly, he's here because of him.
Yeah, maybe Vinny will see this one day and he'll never come on, but maybe he'll look at it and get a chuckle out of it.
I want him to come on and I want him to have that mustache.
Like I've asked you before, would you rather sit down with Vince or Bob Arum for an hour interview if you could get them both? You can only pick one. The two of the greats that what they've done. Yeah, but Bob's still sharp for 1991, man. He is very sharp still.
Or that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I would have to say Bob Arum, only because he's 92, and there's with all due respect, there's
Yeah,
the
he doesn't have
window's
much time.
closing.
Yeah.
This is going to live to 120.
That's
And I figure that if we get Bob, that will probably bump us up, which then will get the attention of Vince McMahon, which will be an easier get at that point.
Yeah. Two guys, two dream interviews right there.
Right there, man. So, Mr. Aram and Mr. McMahon, if you're listening or anyone close to you is listening, we would love to have you on the show. On that note, I'm Bobby Sampson. He's Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great AC/DC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you. And in the words of the infamous Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it for Samp&Chance. Everyone, have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you soon. Samp&Chance out.